Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be making this wiper card, and I normally make these as 5x7 cards, but I decided to try to make this smaller. So this is actually a USA2 size card, 4¼ by 5½, and I think it turned out pretty well. So the Stampin' Die set that I'll be using is from CC Designs. It's called February March, and it has a few different really cute character animals that are super easy to color in, and then there are some matching sentiments that go with them. To start off, I've got my USA2 size panels, 2 of them here, and I've scored along the 5½-inch edge, 3/8 of an inch, and then 3/4 of an inch. And when you rotate one of them and flip it around, that's how these two will ultimately get attached to one another. And you can see I've already placed some red line tape just on that first glue tab where we scored the first 3/8 of an inch, and that's how these two sides will attach together. I'm going to quickly just use my Distress Oxide inks to create a nice cloudy background. And I've got tumbled glass, broken china, and I think salty ocean, which I don't have in an oxide, so I'm just using the regular Distress ink. And I am inking these so that on the one side I'll be cutting an aperture using this rounded rectangle die. And so because you'll be able to see straight through to it, that's why I've inked up the back panel to have a similar sort of cloudy sky background. So you just want to make sure that if you do need to ink up both panels, that you're inking up the side that will actually be visible when the two ends get attached. And I didn't think about it ahead of time, but I decided that I would still try to heat emboss in white the Butterfly Wishes to You sentiment. This might have been better to do before I did the inking. That way you get a little bit of a embossed resist, and the white that I'm using to emboss will be a lot clearer, I think. Because I do have a fairly light background, I did take my darkest ink color and just added a little bit more ink on just right around that sentiment and right over top of it too. And I was quick to wipe that off so that the white emboss would be visible again. And here I have a piece of acetate that I've cut to 3/8 of an inch wide, and the length of it is going to be determined by your card size. So you could definitely sort of alter these basic measurements that I'm giving to make any size wiper card. But you want to, on your piece of acetate here, you want to make sure that this piece is as wide or more narrow than your initial score lines that we made. So because this is getting attached on a 3/8 of an inch sort of tab or section of our cardstock here, that's what determined the width of this piece of acetate. And the length is going to be determined by basically how large of a die cut you want to put on the end of this, and where you want it to sit on your card. So I just have a piece of scratch leftover acetate here, and it's probably around 5 inches or so, but I'll trim that down as needed. And here I'm just making sure that I trial run how to attach everything. And I do like to use just some low tack tape, whatever you've got, to just do a little bit of a test run to make sure I've got everything where I want it before using my very tacky tape. So I'm using some red line tape, and I'm only putting adhesive on that little triangle that I folded and scored. So you can see here, because it's clear acetate, I've gone ahead and drawn in a blue triangle. that is the portion of this acetate stand that has adhesive. Only that little bit of a triangle section there is going to get attached to our card base. And so I definitely recommend a very, very strong adhesive. So score tape, red line tape, anything you've got that you know is going to be really strong. Definitely give it a really good burnish. A lot of times double-sided adhesive tapes don't reach their full sort of adhesive power until you've really burnished them in. And as I was cleaning off that little bit of acetate, I did crunch it up a little bit, so I have to kind of cut myself off a new section here, but that's no problem. So I'm going to line the back of my aperture window with another piece of acetate. And that's so that we don't create any catch points when that butterfly moves up and down. Because as you saw when I was doing the test run, with an open aperture, just that open window there, it can get caught on the grass that I'll be putting in front. And so I want to make sure that this has a really nice, smooth glide path and that there are no catch points that it can possibly get hung up on. So now that I am fairly certain where I want everything, I'm going to go ahead and attach my butterfly to my acetate stand, again using some really strong red line tape. And I did want a little bit of my butterfly to be visible behind the grass. That way, as the card recipient, you kind of see that something is peeking up out of the grass, and hopefully, because I'm not going to put any instructions per se for whoever gets this to know to actually pull it, I think they will naturally have some curiosity as to what's behind there. And because the card will naturally want to sort of spring open a little bit, hopefully that's enough of a clue or a hint that this is an interactive card and there's something they can do to make that butterfly pop up. So I'll go ahead and get my grass adhered, and as you can see, it's pretty simple to create these wiper cards. I know that there are special die sets that you can buy to create them, but you don't really need one, especially if you want to be able to create cards in whatever size that you like, because most of the times I find that the specialized die sets are really fast and handy because all the measuring and everything is done for you, but oftentimes they are very specific to a particular card size. So I always find it's kind of nice to know how to create these without the use of any specialized dies, so that if you wanted, you could create it in a smaller or larger size card, just depending on your images and what you want. So here's a final look at this wiper card. You can see this butterfly is super adorable. When I fold it completely flat, there's just a little bit of him peeking up, and you just need to pull those two ends apart and he starts to fly. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this card, and if you did, you can pop on over to the Not Too Shabby shop to pick up this stamp set. There's a coordinating die set as well. And if you'd like to catch new videos as I release them, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing the notification bell. Thanks so much, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!